Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday morning to you. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is what I call my morning musings, sharing some thoughts with you from the Word of God, enjoying a great cup of coffee, and preparing for a short week. You know, this is Christmas week, and this may well be the last video for this week, as some of my old cars are just begging for me to work on them this week, and I'm sort of kind of thinking about taking the rest of the week off. So I may or may not be back with you in the morning. But be that as it may, we're looking at the eschatology of the parables of Jesus. I have said and I've shared with you that the eschatology of the parables of Jesus falsifies any futurist eschatology. We have been looking at the theme of martyr vindication, which Jesus in his parables put at his coming, and number two, at his coming in judgment of Old Covenant Israel. Now, folks, these texts are very emphatic. And by the way, the majority of scholars agree that in Matthew chapter 21, in the parable of the wicked husbandman and the vineyard, Jesus was talking about coming judgment on Jerusalem. Most commentators agree, Matthew chapter 22, the men who persecuted the servants sent to invite them to the wedding and who were destroyed, Old Covenant Jerusalem. Luke chapter 18, many commentators agree, Jesus was talking about AD 70. And yet, amazingly, those same commentators fail to take note the direct correspondence between Jesus' parabolic teaching and, for instance, the rest of the epistles, as we've been examining, and the book of Revelation. Let me illustrate that. I touched on this ever so briefly yesterday. Look at how Jesus' parabolic teaching inspired, and John draws from those three parables that we've been mentioning. Number one, the parable of the vineyard and the wicked husbandman. Because in Revelation chapter 14, now what happens in Matthew chapter 21? The leaders or the rulers over the vineyard fill up the measure of their sin and they're destroyed at the coming of the Lord. Watch this. Revelation 14. Pardon me. In the proclamation of the impending judgment of Babylon, the city where the Lord was slain, what do we find? Well, John said, another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice, saying to him who sat on the cloud, "Thrust in your sickle, reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." There's the measure of sin being full. There's the measure of suffering being full. And what is it? The time of harvest. When was the sun? When were the servants sent? The time of the harvest. Another angel came out of the temple which is in the heaven, having a sharp sickle, and another angel came out from the altar, who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, "Thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe." So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, gathered the vine of the earth, threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress. Do you see this? Vineyard, filling the measure of sin, coming of the Lord. Verse 13. Perfect correspondence. Now watch. Number two. Matthew chapter 22. The time of the wedding had come. The invitation was spurned. The saints sent to call them to the wedding were slain. The city burned and destroyed. Matthew 22, verse 10, 7 and 10. Revelation What do we find in Revelation? Well, Revelation is the city that killed the prophets. Revelation 16:16. 6 and 16. It is the city where the Lord was slain. Revelation 11:8. It is the city that killed the apostles and prophets. Revelation 18:20 and 24. Do you see? Do you see what's happening? God sent His servants to Jerusalem. God sent His servants to Babylon. Matthew 22, the servants were slain. Revelation, the servants were slain. At the time of the judgment of the city guilty of killing those servants, when their city is destroyed, what takes place? The wedding takes place. Revelation 18, Revelation 19, the coming of the Lord against Babylon, the coming of the Lord with His armies, just like Matthew 22:7. He destroys the city, and what happens? Revelation 19:6, let us rejoice and be glad, for the time of the wedding has come. Matthew chapter 22, exactly. Luke chapter 18, how long, O Lord, holy and true, do you not avenge us? The martyrs cried. They were given white robes and told to rest for a little while until their fellow servants should be slain as they were, filling up the measure of sin. Will not God avenge His elect who cry out to Him day and night? Luke 18, yes, He will avenge them speedily. Again, Revelation chapter 6, 9 and following. What do we find? The martyrs crying out, how long, O Lord? Verbatim quote of Luke chapter 18. What were they told? Given white robes, told to rest only a little while. So we have in the book of Revelation a direct echo of Matthew 21, Matthew 22, Luke 18. And in Matthew 21, there's no question. The judgment was against Jerusalem at the coming of the Lord. Matthew 22, the time of the wedding is at the time of the sending out of the armies and destroying the city of those who persecuted the saints. Luke 18, judgment was coming very soon at the coming of the Lord. Revelation tells us over and over and over again, these things must shortly come to pass. And we find all three of those parables echoed directly in the book of Revelation. Absolutely incredible, absolutely perfect correspondence. And yet amazingly, the commentators seem to just gloss right over it. And they apply Revelation to some far-off event. No, that's not proper. If we honor Jesus' parabolic teaching and how it is echoed in the book of Revelation, there is no doubt whatsoever, number one, Babylon is Old Covenant Jerusalem, and number two, pardon me, the coming of the Lord in Revelation was in AD 70, the time of the vindication of the martyrs. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. If I don't get back with you here on YouTube and Facebook, I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. You be safe. Enjoy your family. Thank the good Lord for all of the blessings and all of the gifts that He has given to us. And hey, go to my website, get my book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, The Wedding of the King of Kings. Mention that you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook. Hey, this would be a great Christmas present, right? Shipping won't get it there before Christmas, but it'd be a great Christmas present nonetheless. So eschatology.org or BibleProphecy.com. Get the book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, The Wedding of the King of Kings. Mention that you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund your shipping, and I will include free, no charge whatsoever, my presentation at Criswell College 2012 on the vindication of the martyrs and the millennium. You'll love this material. All right. Thanks so much for being with me. God bless. Merry Christmas. We'll see you after Christmas.